Greetings, living creatures and potential Nosferatu or other supernatural undead. I am Robert.
And I'm Josh.
This is A&G Central Music.
Right there.
And we're here to have a conversation with you.
Let's rap, which is old-timey for we're going to have a chat.
Or it's something you do when you give someone a gift.
Or a competitive battle rap between me and you.
We'll save that for another video.
Like and subscribe.
So, Joshua.
Yes.
Competition in music.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
So, I got to be careful with this. I certainly think it has its place. And especially with students, we kind of use competition, I think, as a motivator.
Sure.
And it works well for a lot of kids. But what does it mean to their overall development? So we use it in a couple different ways. I think in the classroom, going to competitions, even in the adult band world, there's a little bit of competing. And for certain kids, that's going to be great. Probably not great for all students.
So are you talking about, like, for students, maybe the most prevalent form of competition is like for chairs? Is that kind of what you're talking about, where certainly it wasn't that long ago where almost every program ran, we would have play tests and challenges for seating.
Yeah, and then, that would put you on a part and maybe put you into like a leadership role in your group.
But what if you have a student that isn't necessarily motivated by competition or is intimidated by competition? Where's the line where you want to teach the lesson? Surely in everything in life.
Right.
You're going to be faced, whether it's in your workplace or in an ensemble somewhere, competition is everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's not always a great motivator for students, and you may have your last third clarinet player who is perfectly capable of playing the first part, but you will never know because that competition either intimidates them or doesn't motivate them. So how do you address that? Do you think it's okay to move parts around?
Yeah, I think I'm actually a fan of rotating parts. Maybe even if you have like a selected first chair player, it doesn't mean they have to play first part on every piece.
Sure, and you might have a certain student in mind for a certain part.
Or a solo or
right.
Whatever, if you choose to program it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I definitely think that's a thing. You don't want to have like a hidden talent kind of sitting at the bottom of your section, never getting a shot to play.
What about the messaging that it can send? I think it's all in how it's addressed, like anything in life.
Right.
But finding that balance to where you don't create a dynamic in whatever organization it is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't create a dynamic of, I am, in the example of an ensemble, I am first trumpet.
Right.
And first trumpet greater than third trumpet. Because what we're trying to achieve in an ensemble, obviously, is a collective performance.
Right.
And there's certainly one of the greatest lessons that, ensemble, instrumental music, or choral music, or whatever, teaches us is that every single part is important. The first trumpet is indeed not more important than the third trombone, because without the third trombone, you don't have the complete work, right? And that is, in my view, like one of the most beautiful things about
music,
ensemble music, and what these students can learn. So how do you find that balance? And that may not be a fair question because it's pretty difficult.
Yeah, well, and I think that kind of collaborative approach, I think, will come down from the teacher and the leadership you have in your classroom. I think it's just a tone you have to set. I don't know if you're always going to find that perfect balance. Like, that's hard. Mm-hmm. But I think it's something to strive towards.
One thing that I have found effective in rehearsals is, a lot of times in a rehearsal we'll stop and we'll say, this is who you should be listening for, and we try to get, whoever's in the ensemble to start listening more deeply. But sometimes it's nice just to kind of pick out a certain part and say, look at what this adds. Look at the colors here.
Right.
Right? See how important that is, and it's just a little reminder to everyone what's happening.
Right.
When all of the parts are performed to their best, right?
Yeah.
Really quickly, how about the pitfalls of competitive band or competitive orchestra, where we go out and we say, this performance greater than this performance?
Well,
or even for like solo competitions.
I want to be careful about this too, because I do think that a little bit of this can be helpful with a lot of students. Like, hey, we have a deadline. Hey, we're trying to be the best we can. This is a good motivator for them. But I do feel like just strictly working towards like a judged competition sort of boxes you in as a musician. Yeah. I think that you get to like music by the numbers. Like, hey, I'm just trying to check these boxes. Rhythm of notes are right. Dynamics are good.
Yeah.
We're not rushing or surging or dragging. Like, hey, we're just going to play this technically perfect, but we might actually miss out on the spirit of what the music is trying to say, or like other emotional connections that we could make to the music, which would actually be probably more interesting to the listener.
And do we really want arbiters of what is good art and what is not good art?
That's good art. That's not good art.
Right? I think
Correct.
that there's room for all creators, and while it's okay to say that something is not for you, to put a judgment on it, I think, is unfair potentially to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Right? It's not good for me, therefore you shall not have it.
Yeah. And someone else is deciding what's good or bad. Like, you know, you could go to something and be like, I think this is great. And someone else could just be like, I hate this.
And I think that just to kind of wrap it up, if you're creating art, you're trying to also create an emotion, right? Sympathy, empathy, catharsis. This is why we go, music especially, like this is, at least for me, this is why I go to music, because I want to feel something.
Yeah.
Right? And so I feel like while there is a balance that can be found in terms of competition within ensembles or individuals, or I think we need to be really careful about taking it too far so that we have a czar of culture somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
We're really interested in what your thoughts on this topic are. We brought it up today in a kind of a different way than we normally do these conversations, because this was something that was just kind of organically brought up and interests us, and we're really interested in your thoughts on it. So in comments, let us know what your thoughts on competition in art, particularly music, are. We'd be interested in seeing them. And as always, if you like the content, hit that thumbs up button, smash the bell.
Let's do this. Let us know if this is the best thing you've ever seen, or the second best, or the third best.
That's right. And rap battles.
It's coming.
Until next time, be well.